Well, doesn't look like I'm gonna be needing this bad boy anymore. This is going in the trash. Now, let's talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League, shall we? Hey guys, welcome to the Nerd Blast. I know it's been a while since we posted our last video, but I figured since the Zack Snyder cut for Justice League is out, we might as well do a review for the movie. So joining me here today is my good friends Oscar and Jawad. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good.
And I assume you guys already have seen the Snyder cut. Went
Yeah,
through the whole 4 hours of the movie.
dude, I posted that. I posted it on
I
my
saw
Facebook
your I saw your
status.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be spoiler free?
I figured we can kind of maybe just go spoiler free for like maybe the first half, and then the second half we can just go all at it with whatever stood out to you guys. So
Okay.
we'll put a spoiler warning for those who have not yet watched the whole thing. But
All right.
yeah, we're gonna start off with keeping this spoiler free as much as we can. But yeah,
Okay.
basically, if you guys have already known, this is pretty much the Justice League movie that Zack Snyder envisioned when he took over to film the movie before the whole after some personal issues, he had to leave during post production, and then Warner Bros. Had to decided to have Josh Whedon jump right in and finish whatever was left of the movie, and that's pretty much what we got for the theatrical cut of the movie, which was I think it was back in 2017.
2017, 2018. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was around that year, but yeah, that's basically what we got, and the reception was basically mixed, mostly negative.
I mean, I go into a movie and I'm like, "This is gonna be fucking awesome. This is gonna be great." Because in general, it's not something that's done before. Like, we've never seen a Justice League movie like on the big screen before, especially live action. Like, we've seen Justice League movies come straight to DVD or Blu-ray. Um, yeah, that's how old I am.
Yeah,
And and no, it's so like it was great to see like who would get to who would get to play certain characters, and like how and like watching how they played off these characters is one thing, and then but like looking back on the Joss cut, it felt like it was a bit of a rush job, like because which
oh
and this is
yeah, of
actually
course.
this is something I actually talked with my friend about like a while ago. The fact that by the time it came out, people were comparing it to all these other Avengers movies, like Avengers: Age of Ultron, and I'm like, you're comparing it to the wrong thing. Like, compare it to the first Avengers movie, and it's sort of similar because mind you, they only really focus like the prequels only ever really focused on three people, like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman. Which I get it. They're the holy trinity of the Justice League, in the same way that Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man are the holy trinity of the Avengers.
Oh
But I
yeah.
mean, like, which is to be understood because I believe Joss Whedon had a hand in the Avengers movie. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
No. I believe you're right on that front.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you
That.
can kind of see how they were going. How you can kind of see how it was obvious that they would go about that. But I mean, the issue is that like you're taking the Avengers approach on a cast that isn't the Avengers,
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to put that whole style and the
which
chemistry
which
into that sort of film, and obviously that didn't work because
Which yeah, it
you know
didn't work.
yeah,
Like
because
it's
it
because it wouldn't work for DC. They have a much
no,
darker tone.
they do.
and and also mind you, I am the type of person who's a huge DC fanboy. I
Oh, same
prefer,
here, same here.
like, no, I mean, like, if you ask me Marvel or DC, I'm gonna say DC. Like, I'm not gonna say Marvel at all. I'm actually kind of like I'm kind of vicious towards the Marvel fans. I actually, like, at one point I've said to somebody, "Oh, yeah, you're a Marvel fan. Uh, quick question: which comic book did you like? Were you able to tell me any of the differences between the movie Infinity War versus the comic book? If like they can't answer, I'm like, you're a flavor of the month fan who's only ever really
Yeah,
taken
exactly.
who's ever really only taken their stuff via the movies, as opposed to any other content, like the video games, the TV shows, the cartoons, like um but yeah, like but also the thing is that, like, the fact of the matter is, because I love DC so much, I will be critical of them, because I think that, like, you should hold, if you love something and you want to see it at its best, you should hold it up to the light and say, yeah, not your best idea. Which, I mean,
Yeah.
that was my whole take on the Joss cut, especially like when I found out why all this was going on, like why Joss Whedon was brought in, and like what happened with Zack Snyder. That was that which I also did say in my status, like that was like a messed up thing for DC Comics to do to Zack Snyder, like let the man grieve. I know you have a deadline, but like that's his daughter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If they just given him more time just to finish the movie, let him, deal with, what's going on in his life, and then, somewhere down the line they'll finish it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was just basically Warner Bros. Trying to get trying to get that money, trying
Yeah,
to
I
cash
mean,
in on that.
it also
It
seemed
was
like they
pretty
were
dumb.
it also seemed kind of like they were doing an arms race with Marvel, which,
Yeah. Hmm.
like, don't focus on what Marvel's doing, focus on what you're doing.
Exactly.
Uh,
What
well,
about
for
for you,
me,
Joel?
well, speaking as a Marvel fan,
Sorry.
and uh,
That's why I had to
you
bring
know,
you guys here.
and somebody who prefers Marvel over DC most of the time. But I am a comic book fan. I've been collecting comics for a while now, but
Mm,
both Marvel and DC and independent books. So I know most of the storylines, but I usually don't try to compare the comics with the movies or any other media, because I know it's always going to be a little bit different.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
in terms of, like, MCU and Avengers, like, I loved um, the first Avengers, and I thought, like, Joss Whedon, I think he's a great director. He does. I can see why they brought him in, because he does well with um, ensemble groups, like having like groups of people where you can sort of shine a spot. Like the first Avengers, I thought was like perfect in the way it tried to show a spotlight on each of the different characters, and then show each of their differences. And since they already had the luxury of introducing the main three characters, they could sort of focus on the smaller ones, like Hawkeye and Black Widow, some of their backstory, which could sort of do like Justice League. They could sort of do also, since already introduced Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman. Um, I think the mistake that he did make was not giving Cyborg and Flash as much of a backstory in his movies, like uh, like Zack Snyder did. Like having their back, showing some of them more, really helped the new cut. But I still did enjoy the original Justice League. I know like a lot of people didn't. There were a few different comments that I thought were valid, like even like some of the CGI wasn't like that great for like Steppenwolf and yeah, the mustache, the famous mustache.
Yeah, the
Um,
famous CGI mustache.
um, like one of the things I noticed while I was watching the new cut was, you know, even though I liked it more than the Joss Whedon cut, there were a couple of things that I did miss. Like um, I I liked the Danny Elfman score a bit from the original cut.
Yeah.
I did like geek out a little when I heard the original Batman theme and the Superman theme and like sort of like woven into like part of it. I was like, it got me going. Um, and I understand the tone a little bit. There was one scene which, you know, this isn't spoiling, but like that's not in the Snyder cut, which I missed from the Whedon cut, where like right after Superman comes back and sort of like beats everybody up, and Bruce Wayne is like he has his shirt off and you can see all the bruises on his body. I didn't see that in the Snyder cut, and I was like, that was like pretty for me like a good scene to show like how Batman can be pretty vulnerable and he's just a human, like compared, even though he's taking on, you know, like end of the world situations and bringing these like powerful characters back together, superpower characters, he still uh, can can get hurt like pretty bad. So that was like a couple of little things like I did like from his the Whedon movie, um, which I missed in this new cut, but still overall I thought it was a better movie just because, I guess partly because it was his original vision, but also I think also because he got to do 4 hours, which you wouldn't be able to do if it was a theatrical release. Probably like he basically got to put in like every little probably like bits and pieces that he wanted to do because you know it was going to be streaming rather than being a movie theater.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because yeah, I do agree that the music score was, you know, entirely different, which was kind of odd, like the way they picked certain you know, certain songs to play in some of the scenes was kind of awkward to me. Which is something I feel like the Whedon version kind of got right, especially with, you know, Danny's score. I feel like it kind of blew me back, like with all these different sounds, and you know, bringing back the Batman theme from the original 89 film, which I completely loved, by the way.
Well,
But
that was like Danny Elfman's score anyway. Like he's
yeah,
just
yeah,
doing
exactly, like bringing
using
that
his
back
own
is,
music.
yeah. um
Um,
but I do agree that they did bring in a lot of backstory into Cyborg and the Flash, which is why I think they were kind of the standouts for the Snyder Cut, because we got to see a lot more of where, you know, Cyborg came from, and seeing that he's kind of the heart and soul of the movie, because, you know, basically the mother boxes kind of came off from him, so it's kind of a good way to tie that in there. And then, you know, with Flash, I feel like we got to see a bit more from him with the action sequences, which I feel like did really well, as opposed to, you know, the theatrical version too.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be the odd man out on the on the soundtrack, because I actually
Yeah.
liked I actually liked the we sorry the Snyder cut. Yeah, the Snyder cut score a lot more, like, and that's because like the background music was like of a much darker tone, which that's DC. That's a darker tone. So I felt it actually like went better, like the the Snyder cut went better with the movie.
but like with Zack Snyder, I dug his score also, just because felt very similar to Watchmen in a way, which I love also, where he just it feels like he's just doing like a mixtape of all of his favorite songs and just like putting them together, and then like, okay, I'm gonna play this song for you in this scene because I love this song. So he's just like popping in like different different songs that he
Yeah.
likes into his movies, which fit, I think, for the most part in the movie, because he's that's like what he the tone he's trying to set. There were a couple parts in the Snyder cut where it felt a little bit weird, like some of his choices, but overall, I think it worked. He was definitely putting in like a slightly darker and maybe even more like operatic tone.
Yeah.
A lot of chanting. That's what I remember. Like,
Yeah.
um,
It was mostly instrumental and like throat singing, which isn't like necessarily the cup of tea for people of today. Like I'd be really hard pressed to find anybody who's into throat singing aside from Bill and Ted. But yeah, shout out to another movie there. But yeah, I like that was the thing. Like it was more somber, darker. And I guess Joss Whedon was trying to like hook to date like people who like more modern music, like for instance when Aquaman was like leaving the dock, and like in the Snyder cut it was like it was like this operatic song, but in the Joss cut it was Icky Thump by the White Stripes.
all
Right,
right,
right.
I forgot that. I forgot like some of the music from the Whedon cut, but
Yeah, I
Oh
haven't
yeah, I
gotten a
mean not
chance to rewatch it just to see like what music choices were there, but yeah, I could totally see that, like how much different it makes like when you put one piece of music on a scene, and then see it on a completely different view once that changes. It kind of changes the mood, I would say.
yeah.
and I think like that's the thing with that's one of the big differences with the two cuts is the soundtrack and the music.
Oh
Like
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
it definitely changes even some of the same scenes from both movies. Like just having different music makes it feel a little bit different.
Yeah, and I mean let's also like call out the obvious here, the fact that like you had one artist interpreting the vision of another artist, which has the recipe for a complete disaster.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It's not it doesn't usually work, and I think that was probably one of the issues with uh, the original version, like taking another. If maybe if Whedon had started it from the beginning, it would have been a different, completely different movie,
Yeah,
even from like the finished version. Um, but that still doesn't make it like not his movie, like his version. It's still, he did what he did with what he had. But uh, I think overall it was okay what he did, but like, yeah, you obviously it's preferable that the person who started it gets to finish his vision.
yeah.
And luckily, that's what we're able to get
Like
after
yeah,
most
we all
time.
got we the I that was incredible. Like the fact that we all got to see this, like despite the amount of time that Warner Brothers was saying, stop asking for the Snyder cut. It doesn't exist. Which like which like they had to eat those words because they're like, yeah, we gotta let them have it.
Yeah, give the fans what they want, and they delivered.
Yeah,
Like,
what a novel idea.
yeah.
Giving your customers what they're asking for.
So, did you guys think that? I mean, the way they did the movie, it seemed like it was almost taking place right after um, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
yeah.
fits more into Batman versus Superman, I think,
Yeah,
like
it's
better.
that connective tissue because like we got to see, that whole battle from Batman v Superman, and that the way that carries over into this movie, and then see how that kind of connects to how the rest of the movie pans out. I feel like that's some smart way of like advancing the story forward.
I think that was the other benefit, since Zack Snyder was also part of the previous two uh, pre-Justice League movies. It fit into those better also.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and also like it also kind of fit better with like whatever came after Justice League too.
well, I don't know, like if Zack Snyder was involved in the other ones,
No, I mean like
besides like Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, but
wasn't he also involved with involved with Aquaman and Shazam?
Not Shazam so much. I could see maybe some of the his imprint on Aquaman in some
Okay,
ways,
time to
but I
Google
am
I was
not
time.
too
actually I was
sure.
actually up late to like looking up Zack Snyder.
I
Um
don't
Yeah,
think that he was really involved, maybe as
I
an
don't think
executive
like
so.
producer.
Yeah,
I think it's that I think it's he was involved, but like not as a director. Give me one second. Okay,
He definitely wasn't a director.
yeah,
he was the
because
executive
those.
producer for Aquaman,
Yes,
and then he was the producer for Wonder Woman 1984. He was the producer for Wonder Woman.
yeah,
Yeah.
Producer, like executive producer, is just a title. It doesn't mean you actually did anything on
Yeah,
the
but I
yeah.
movie.
mean like the fact that he was there, like he was able to like give some input.
But
Um
Aquaman to me is like definitely not a Snyder movie.
Yeah,
It
that didn't
has
feel like
the
a
much
Snyder
lighter
movie.
tone.
Yeah.
fair enough, but I mean like the
And
whole like
Shazam.
well
Oh,
yeah, I mean the whole thing about and like for me it just like hinges on one thing like that Joss did not get correct. Because from what I remember in terms of the Joss cut, he it was like it seemed like Aquaman and Mira already knew each other, like they already had like a bit of a relationship, and then like when you see them interacting with Aquaman, it like in Aquaman, you'd think it's just like the first time that like you think they don't really know each other that well. So I'm like, wait, this is a little confusing compared to Justice League, especially since she already mentioned Steppenwolf in Aquaman.
yeah, yeah. Because
So
like we
so that's
didn't
what I
get
mean
that
by it.
connection,
That's what I mean by it fit better with Aquaman.
right? But I mean, there was so much that was packed into all these 4 hours. With the backstory, and then yeah, I kind of want to jump into Steppenwolf because I feel like this version of Steppenwolf was much more. I wouldn't say fleshed out, but like he felt like a true villain than what we got in
He was
the
definitely
other
more
version.
developed in
More
the
developed, yeah.
like in Justice League. You see him as more of like just this two-dimensional villain.
Yeah.
In the Snyder cut, he was more fleshed out, and I actually liked the look he had in the Snyder cut, like that armor, like that
Yeah, they
somewhat
stick.
sentient armor was
Yeah.
really badass.
I
Yeah,
know they.
because that one was like we got to see that armor well, like a figure of him in the Ultimate Edition for Batman v Superman
Mm,
when Lex went into
yeah,
that chamber. We got to see part of
yeah,
Steppenwolf in there. So I'm glad they
that
kept
shit
that
like that.
design in there.
Yeah. Sorry, I dropped my picks.
It's all good.
I think yeah, Steppenwolf. Well, he definitely looks better in the new version, but it's sort of like uh, it's sort of a cheat in a way to put metal armor uh, almost all over his body because it's harder. It's so much easier to render metal in CGI um, than flesh. And I think one of the issues that was one of the problems with the League version was the how sort of my brother like couldn't stop complaining about how fake Steppenwolf looked, his face and
Yeah.
like his just like mannerisms, just because
Yeah.
it was mostly like you saw more of him, and I know they spent a lot of money and time upgrading him like for this new version. I
Yeah.
don't know if he just like they didn't have enough time to like make him look better then, but
Sorry. Continue.
he looks better, but also they did give him more time to um, uh, like give his more of a backstory. But
Yeah.
then again, uh, they got to show Darkseid, which is not a spoiler. Like they, without Darkseid, um, it would I think would have been harder to maybe flesh out his character a little bit more, like
Yeah.
without having him there. Like I think Whedon was trying to avoid showing Darkseid as sort of like with Thanos, like he's somewhere in the background. He's a big bad guy that they're saving for later
Yeah.
that they don't want to use yet. But in this version, it's like, well, he's there. He's there for you to watch. You already see it. So like now you can see why Steppenwolf is doing what he's doing more.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Steppenwolf, especially with the comics, is he is and always has been loyal to Darkseid. In Justice League, you never even saw Darkseid, not even in the end,
Yeah.
not even in the end credits. Also, I really have to ask, like, in terms of the whole Steppenwolf looking fake comment, where does your brother go that he can realistically see what Steppenwolf would look like?
It's not that like he's comparing him to like a comics version or any other version.
No,
It's
no, I
just
mean,
he's not even a comic book person. He likes
I mean,
the Dark Knight trilogy just because he likes things more real.
yeah,
And
no,
like anytime he sees fake CGI that doesn't look good, it's automatically a turn off. He's just like one of those that doesn't. He prefers as least CGI looking as possible.
yeah, yeah. No,
Um,
Right.
my whole joke was that like Steppenwolf is this other. It was a joke, a poorly delivered joke, by the way. It's
yeah,
that like Steppenwolf is this dude with horns and like scaly skin.
yeah.
You're not gonna see somebody like that out in the real world.
No, of course not. But like,
Or
you
maybe you
can
might.
see somebody
Maybe
in
you might if
makeup, like,
maybe you might if they've had some like heavy body modification done.
yeah, but you can do that with makeup or like
True.
costumes if
Mm,
you really wanted to. It might not look right with the size, but that's
yeah.
one of the reasons why Hulk is CGI too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like it's hard not. It would be hard not to do them in CGI. I agree,
Yeah.
but if somebody doesn't look, if something looks a little off or fake, it for the average viewer, like for me, it doesn't always bother me because I understand like how hard it is to get CGI or like
Yeah.
especially
Of course.
like human looking characters just right. It's so easy to make them like look bad. Um, so like for me, it didn't bother me the look of Steppenwolf in the Joss Whedon version, but for somebody who's just watching a movie and like, oh, that character's fake. That character is CGI. So it's just like it can be like a little a turn off. So like in the new version, I think he does look less CGI-ish, but at the
Mm,
same time, it's more metal. It's more shiny.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's like I said, it's a little bit of a cheat, but at the same time, it still works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Especially in, that we actually got to see Darkseid, and that kind of explains more of Steppenwolf's his reasonings behind trying to get the murder boxes, rather than him just saying, praising Muller for getting these together, rather than just mentioning Darkseid. So I'm glad that they touched on that in the Snyder cut.
Yeah. I mean, like in terms of the I mean, yeah. I mean, I already said it. Like he is and always was this guy who was working for Darkseid.
I feel like we got to see, speaking of Aquaman, I feel like we got to see a few more scenes with him,
Yeah.
especially during the beginning when we see Batman traveling. to wherever Aquaman was hidden.
Yeah.
I feel like that was pretty much more extended because, yeah, I don't know. I think the theatrical version was much more kind of straightforward, didn't go too much into the conversation, but this one was kind of more, getting to see these two meet and, I don't know. It just seems like we got to see more of him in this version.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the Snyder Cut got to delve deeper into the three heroes that we didn't get to see on the screen before,
Right.
namely Cyborg, Aquaman, and the Flash. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, like it seemed like the Flash had more confidence to him in the Snyder Cut. Like you didn't see like in the Justice League, um, like he was essentially comedic relief.
Yeah, that's all he was.
Yeah,
And yeah,
which I mean, let's give credit to where credit is due. The Flash is more than just a guy who runs really fast. He like you have seen him do some pretty amazing things, and like it was honestly kind of great to see the TV show bring out the Flashpoint paradox. And so like yeah, Flash can travel through time. Flash th- can vibrate through solid objects. Flash can create lightning bolts. I did not see that type of Flash before in the Justice League. Um, in all like and also with Cyborg, he like in Snyder Cut, he had more stake in the game. Like he wasn't just this tool to be used, which got to give this up and gotta shout this out in terms of the fact that like you know the Holy Trinity, yeah, they're all three. Uh, when you look at them, you just see three white people. But but you know, Cyborg, yeah, he's African American. He like and in the Joss cut, he didn't have much. He was just like it just seemed like he was a tool. Like like yeah, he was just the guy who could who was instrumental in addressing the issue with the mother boxes. I'm really trying not to spoil this,
Yeah. I
but
think
in
I
but in
think it turned out he ended up being sort of the center of the movie in the Snyder cut. Like hit the story overall, even though they
he got more
give him more
character.
backstory, he
He
was directly connected to the mother boxes. So he
he was
was
connected
basically like the most essential part of
he was
this
connected
movie.
he was connected to them in both
yeah,
Joss and Snyder. The thing is that in Snyder, you like he got more stake in the game. He got like you now ended up with this reason as to why he wants to save the world now. What's this thing that kind of motivates him to fight to fight Steppenwolf, to fight the parademons. He was just there in the Joss cut. In the Snyder cut, it went into a little more backstory, which I would be saying, but I like for the love of God, I really don't want to spoil like what I don't want to spoil the reason why he had more stake in the game for like whoever might watch this and hasn't seen the
I think
Justice
he
League
just
Snyder cut yet.
also got more screen time. It wasn't just his
Hmm.
backstory; it was also his story, like
Yeah, you got
that was
more character.
happening during the movie.
it's
Yeah,
like
you
you
got
got
more
a mini
character
movie out
development.
of him. When they showed a lot more of his background. It's like like it's something what you could have seen in like a solo cyborg movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
which is
mean,
like if they did a solo cyborg movie, if they had done a solo cyborg movie, let's say before Justice League, then I think it would have been okay. Like,
Yeah.
um, but it would not showing him so much in the Justice League. But since that wasn't the case, uh, but I think that Snyder did the right thing with like did a better job, like
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
making him
Certainly.
more central to the story, or yeah, like
yeah,
and making him have more stake in what
yeah.
happens.
Yeah, and like the fact that that Flash, like, fuck, I really don't want to like like I mean in the Snyder cut, like you get to see the fact that, like, well, more towards the end, like he didn't want to do the, like, there was this one thing he really didn't want to do. He had a rule about it, but because of what's going on, like, he had to break this rule that he has, which is something that heroes have done before, like, and it showing that, like, it's not an easy thing to do.
And can I just say how much of a badass Wonder Woman is in this movie? I feel like this was like a
Oh
much
yeah, she
better
is.
Wonder Woman than what I got in, I believe was was it Wonder Woman 84. I feel like we got to see more of her kicking ass than what I've been used to seeing her on screen.
Well, Wonder Woman 84, that one, like, I I'm probably in like the I'm probably in the small group here where, like, I actually like that movie, like, despite its quote unquote like mistakes, but like one thing that it did is, like, it also kind of answered the question of like, uh, like of like, why the hell hasn't she gone back to Themyscira, and like you realize why,
Yeah, yeah.
like that there's a protective barrier around it. And but again, like I said, I like Wonder Woman 84, um because
the
just in
scene
general,
where
it's like, the thing is, just in general, it's one of those moments where it's, like, you get these heroes who are largely ignored. And I think that's one of the things that kind of contributes to the fact that, like, it kind of pushes a movie into success. You don't really know who these heroes are. Like, yeah, Wonder Woman stands there in the Holy Trinity, but she's also, like, dwarfed by Superman and Batman. Like, she's kind of relegated to just like, oh, we just need a third because it needs to be a Holy Trinity. um and like, that's kind of, that's one of the things that kind of pushed Wonder Woman to success, because you don't know too much about her.
um, I don't think this would be spoilery to ask, but the scene, the action scene with Wonder Woman and the bank, that
Oh,
was in the
That was in both, dude.
that
that
was in
wasn't
both.
yeah
Yeah, that was
that
in.
was in both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure because like at first I thought it was new, but then I was like, wait, I
Oh
have
no, no,
seen
no.
this
That
before.
was also in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I think there might have been like some parts
I
that were a
think
little
there
more
were some
extended.
more. Yeah, they extended some of the fight scenes in that one, so it kind of
Because
felt
but I think
much more.
isn't that's really the only scene where she gets like the spotlight, just her, right?
Yeah, yeah.
As far as I can tell,
Mhm.
like the rest of the movie, she's always with the rest of the group.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, you get like this. You do get this spotlight, like, shining on Wonder Woman a little more, and like, eh, well, actually, let me spoil Wonder Woman 1984. Like, part of the reason why she's, like, not doing so well in battle is because she starts off the movie making a wish that costs her powers. Like,
Yeah.
what the, like, of course her fight scenes aren't going to be the best. Like, she's not playing with the full deck of cards.
there's well, this isn't a review on Wonder Woman 84, but
I
like
know, fair enough, but yeah,
there's a couple of other problems with that movie. Like I kind of liked it. I really wanted to like it more, but um, but yeah, there's there could have been a lot more action even than without the
yeah. I mean,
powers.
like, there definitely could have been a lot more action, plus a few questionable choices on the part of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but yeah. So I mean, like I said, overall, I would say I definitely like the way the Snyder cut turned out better than Joss Whedon's cut, because just because of, like, the way it fit with the rest of the story, with the rest of the movies.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I'm including the ones that are after, like after Justice League. I already
Hmm.
talked about
Yeah.
Aquaman.
Hmm.
I like the fact that this has never been done before. The fact that it is this mood shift from Avengers, where it's like where it's where Avengers is more lighthearted, but like DC is like this darker, much darker version.
Of course.
Um, like for me, I've liked Zack Snyder's movies from the beginning.
Mm.
Uh, I loved 300 and Watchmen and I think it was Dawn of the Dead. Like that was the first movie.
Hmm.
But he's definitely made some mistakes, and he's used slow motion a lot. And I feel like in this movie, since he got 4 hours, like even though most of it doesn't feel like filler, some of it does, but a little bit. He is going full Zack Snyder in some parts. Like he's using his slow motion. He's using the high contrast, like dark light, toned down colors, and the like the music we already talked about. To me, like it felt like as if you don't like Zack Snyder's movies, then you're probably not gonna like this movie. But like if you do like his movies, which I do, like for the most part, but he can definitely make mistakes like Sucker Punch. But like he's like he's I feel like this is his sort of magnum opus, like in terms of doing like with a big budget and like whatever he wants to do that he can do, uh, like just going all out,
Mm.
which is like I guess good that he got to do that. And I don't know if he's gonna get to do it again.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
mean,
it
I would
felt
like
like.
to
He's
see.
just doing, just like putting it all out there, and just like because like this might not never happen again. There might not be a sequel or whatever. So
I
Yeah.
would like to see. I would like to see like him continue on with DC and make more movies. Like I would like to see a Justice League 2 directed by Zack Snyder. I would like to see like all these things come together. Like maybe a more flushed out maybe a more flushed out you know, like maybe a more flushed out Justice League
one
verse.
thing, which which I which I've had an issue with both versions of Justice League and the previous Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, which I still like thought was a weak point in this movie, was the portrayal of Lois Lane. Like she's,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel
I
like
love,
yeah, she was pretty much kind of wasted in this movie, uh,
she's
in some parts.
like Amy Adams is a great actress. Like she's done
Oh
amazing
yeah,
work,
she's done some great work. But yeah, I feel
and
like I agree. She was kind of
she's
underutilized in this one.
her portrayal, the way like they've portrayed Lois Lane in all three movies has been, she's been an integral, like an important character in terms of the plot, but that's all she's ever done is just be somebody there to support Superman and like kind of like keep him grounded and human instead of being her own person, like in the comics and other stories where I've seen like she's this fierce, independent
Yeah.
person, and she's never like just a second hand to like some guy, like even if it's Superman, like she's always there to put him in check if needed, and other people, which I feel like, in both versions of Justice League she's just moping from the start,
Hmm.
and she's like, even in this version she was like not going to work,
Right,
which is
right.
like, she was a reporter, like that's in her blood. um, she wouldn't just stop it. If anything, she might be doing that even more to forget about like her grief. But
Yeah.
And she is the key, as I mentioned in the movie, but they haven't really explored that yet. I'm guessing that's something that would
That
have been
would
more
have been,
further explored in,
yeah.
if they did a sequel.
I
So
mean, mind you, that was kind of a thing in the Injustice video games.
yeah,
Like because Superman was tricked into killing Lois and his unborn child, Superman went apeshit, man, and went full dictator.
Yeah,
which I
like
feel
that's
like they were trying to do with this whole nightmare sequence, which was shown in the trailers. So I'm not going to spoil too much, but um, yeah, I feel like that was something that they wanted to kind of portray in there in some parts.
yeah. I I think well, like in those both of those cases, it's still showing her as the just the love interest of Superman. Like she's just there to keep him grounded and not
Right.
go crazy, which is like yeah, that's fine, but it still doesn't go show who she is and why
Mm-hmm.
Superman loves her so much. Uh, like what is the chemistry between them that makes it like makes you believe that he would go like that crazy because
Yeah,
of like their love for each other or what he loves about her. It's just like in the movies it's just like oh they love each other and that's it, like you just that's just the way it is, like you don't I don't really see that much of a chemistry except for her just like holding his hand like through all the trauma that he's going through.
yeah.
What did you guys think about Batman in this version? I feel like in the Whedon version, he acted more of a leader in some respects. Like he kind of took charge and what the team had to do to get the mother boxes. And then with this version, I feel like he was more cooperative. Like he was kind of like he agreed with what the other superheroes had to say about what the plan is supposed to be. Like he kind of agreed with everything.
I
Do you
mean,
feel like that?
yeah, I mean, I felt like that was kind of necessary though, just because something needed to get cut out to give time to for all these other superheroes to shine. And
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, like, because it's always going to be like this obvious thing where Batman will take this leading role if he needs, like, when he needs to, and the fact that he'll, like, because mind you, putting together this whole team was his idea, and it was him going about it,
Oh yeah.
and like you also got to see other personalities, like parts of his personality in the Justice League, where like he does have a hard time forming relationships, mostly because he is a loner. You don't get to
Yeah.
see you don't get to see that, like, but yeah, definitely he did have more of a commanding role in the Joss cut. Um, but in general, there's still like just this air where in the Snyder cut he's more of a leader.
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I mean, in the Snyder cut he's still a leader as
Yeah, he's
opposed.
still a leader, but he's not like more like taking over things. Like he'll listen to like what others have to say on what the plan should be.
Yeah,
I thought it was that not that much of a difference. Maybe I don't remember the Joss Whedon version that much, but I didn't feel like his character was a whole lot different from that version, except for yeah maybe just because the other characters got more time to more spotlight on them. He felt like his character wasn't. It fell more towards the background, but he was still like the one putting the team together. He was still the one like making the plans, and
Mm-hmm.
it was still sort of his team in a way um, in both versions.
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Um, one of the things, like overall, I did think the Snyder Cut was definitely better movie. The tone I liked more. The music choices were mostly better. A couple of things the Aquaman chanting uh, wasn't my favorite, but I didn't really like the way it ended. Um, but I know that was an added on. That was
that
felt
was
tacked in.
yeah, that
That
Which
was
was
like
one?
something they filmed like
they
when
definitely filmed that later. You could
yeah
tell like Ben
yeah you could
Affleck looks
definitely
different.
tell yeah.
So what did you guys think? Like without spoiling it, I guess like
I
what do you guys
Um,
think of
the
the end?
ending, I feel it like the ending of Snyder Cut, I feel it was more establishing for Justice League. Like it was more
that was
like
more of like
it was more of like
like if there was a
solidifying that
sequel. Yeah.
this is the Justice League.
Yes.
Um S- Joss version, I feel like it would have easily have gone into like it could have easily have just been tied into a flashpoint.
Yeah.
Both versions still also had the what I guess would have been leading into the next Batman movie with Ben Affleck with um, with Slade Wilson at the end,
Yeah.
which I was surprised that this version still had in it.
Yeah,
I
they
don't think
kept
that's
that
spoiler.
version, but I think that one that was originally something that Zach shot rather than what Joss shot in the rest of the.
Yeah, but then what comes after that, without obviously spoiling it, I think that was newly filmed. That was
Yeah.
obviously new,
Mm-hmm.
and it sort of
Of
seemed
course.
to discount that the original scene with um, Slade and Luther
Mm-hmm.
because it's a future sort of. I guess it's not real; it was a dream, but it was
Yeah,
still
I mean,
felt like sort of discounting or a way to sort of end the movie without having to show another Batman movie. Like it was a way to kind of give you sort of an ending to it. But
yeah, I mean, like what I didn't like about, and this is the dream sequences in both, is the fact that like that's not Batman's costume. That's actually something that was pulled for like because in the comics, um there's been many more people like taking on the mantle of Batman. There's like Damian Wayne, like which yeah, screw you DC. I hate Damian Wayne. Like at one point he takes on the mantle of Batman and like that's how he dresses in that in that brown trench coat, like no cape, but he's got the but like he's still got like the bat suit underneath.
I did well. I mean, I don't really mind the costume, but like, I just didn't overall like uh, the added scene, the two parts that were in. I
I
guess they're
feel
two
like
parts, but
yeah, I feel like that would have been cut. Like if I were to choose what should stay and what shouldn't have stayed in the Snyder cut, I feel like that part would have been, like taken away. Like they didn't really have to put that into this version.
yeah, it's totally unnecessary. And this is like I think we all both we know that Superman has a sort of different color costume
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
trailer.
I didn't like that. Like you guys, I know why you did the black suit. It's a cool looking suit,
I feel like they
but
didn't have
please,
to.
uh, I mean, they didn't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of yeah, kind of no,
Mm.
because when Superman came back, there was actually like, and this is in the comic books, he had to wear that black suit. There was actually a practical reason for it. And for those of you out there who don't know the practical reason, in the comic books, the black suit that he's wearing allows him to absorb a greater amount of sunlight in a shorter
Right,
period of
right, right,
time.
right. Hmm.
Yeah, that was the purpose behind the black suit. Like, but more to your point, Muffin, is the fact that if you're not going to if you're not going to explain the reason why he's wearing the black suit, you might as well have not had it.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one's gonna know like why he wore that suit in the first place. Because he just had the suit and
Like,
no one's gonna understand like why.
yeah,
But
maybe they'll explain it at some point. Um, maybe they'll explain it at some point later on in like maybe in the next Justice League movie.
I think like
maybe.
with having 4 hours, he should have explained it a little bit better. Um, because like even though it does look kind of cool, there was besides in the movie it just seems like oh like he's just going towards his more darker side. And he like
Mhm.
he turned his back on the blue and red, and it's
Yeah.
like no, not for me.
Yeah, I mean they don't even really have to do much. It's just like one little piece of dialogue that could be placed in like, they're like they're fighting and then somebody like any one of the members, they're like, you're back to your old colors, I see. And he could just say, yeah, yeah, I don't need yeah, that suit helped me absorb a greater amount of sunlight. I don't need it at this point, so i'm back i'm back to I'm back to the old suit. Bam, done. um
Yeah.
Probably done in a better way. I'm not a great improv writer, um but it's something that could be easily remedied
Something. Yeah. Exactly.
like in subsequent movies.
Of course. Well, w- I would say this was definitely a better version than what we got so far, and I enjoyed the heck out of this movie. I would probably watch it again if I wanted to.
I personally will. I didn't rewatch the first Joss Whedon version after a long time because I didn't really feel like I needed to. But I sort of feel the same way in this movie too, even though I liked it more. Um, I probably would watch it again after a while,
Yeah.
but skip the last like 10 minutes, the
Mhm.
added parts, because I
Yeah.
totally didn't feel like those belonged there. I think it
Yeah.
was fine without having those in, and actually turned me off a little bit.
So usually in our channel we give a rating to the movies that we check out. So I would say I would give this like maybe an 8 out of 10. Just for my preference. Like I feel like I enjoyed most of the movie. It fleshed out everything. Gave everything that I would have liked to see in the theatrical cut, but it gave me a whole lot more. Like I wasn't expecting anything going into it, and it blew my mind. How about for you guys?
Crap. I'm bad with ratings. um I mean, like, but Snyder cut, definitely 8 or 9.5 out of 10. I'm like, yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
go as high as that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. How about you?
Uh, I think uh, probably 8 out of 10 also. I was gonna say 7.5, but I was like comparing it to Joss Whedon, and this is definitely better than that one. But like I said, I did enjoy that version at the time, and I don't think it's like completely like it's not a bad movie. I think he did a decent job. So with what he had, even though he added some parts that weren't needed, I think that one I would have probably given 6.5. So this is between 7.5 and 8. So
Yeah.
because I didn't, there were some things that were still not perfect, but overall, this was definitely like, worth watching the
Mm.
new version.
Well, I want to thank all you guys who are watching the video. Definitely leave us your thoughts on what you thought of the Snyder Cut of Justice League. You can leave your comments below. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have more content coming pretty soon. We already started a Twitch channel like a few months back. So definitely check out all the video game stuff that we're doing on there. But we're also on social, so you can just follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So thank you guys so much. And thank you, Oscar and Jawad, for joining me here talking
No problem.
about the Snyder Cut. And we'll see you on the next video.
All right, that's it.
Take care, guys.